They're waiting for me to go live. Go live now, doggone it. It's always something. There we go. Now let's make sure we are actually streaming. Because you never know with these things. This is what burner accounts are made for. Boom, boom, boom. I can't actually see who is and isn't on the darn stream on this on OBS. At least if there was a way, at least if there is a way for me to see it, I don't know what the heck it is. So I got to do it the old-fashioned way and just look on a separate account. Hmm. Oh, yep, I'm live. Oh, yep, I'm live. Sweet. I'm live. Sweet. But what is this audio? But what is this audio? This isn't good. Okay, let me try to fix this before I do anything else. Oh, it sounds horrible. Let's get rid of that. Oh no. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Much better. There we go. That's the audio I need. It's always something. It's always something. Much better. It's always something. Okay, sweet. Now we wait. I'm gonna see if anybody's actually in here before I do anything. It is blazing hot in here. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna open a window so while I'm waiting. Oh, to reveal the mess. Whew. I don't have all the live long day. So I'm gonna see what happens. Hold on. I'm gonna try to bring this back up. Oh, so somebody's in here. Okay, I was looking at my live chat on my YouTube. I was just trying to make sure it was there. We're good. Okay. Well, I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to get this party started. I was trying to, I kind of lost my TikTok chat, but it is what it is. I'm not going to play around forever trying to figure out how to get it back. Hold on. We are here and we're ready to go. Joseph Early. Well, you're living up to your name because you are early. I'm about to get started on this Job thing. We're gonna try to get through this entire book today. But before I do, I'm also live on TikTok. So I'm gonna try one little thing to see if I can actually pull up the other chat so everybody can be in here. And also hope that I don't melt to death because it is really freaking hot. Okay. There it is. Okay. I got the TikTok live chat back. Okay. Well, without further ado, I'm not going to waste any more time. This is part 2 of the book of... This is the part 2 of Job. I'm going to actually try to get through the rest of the book today, and then we can decide later on, if I manage to get through it, what's going to be next. Somebody suggested Hebrews last time, which is going to be a task because Hebrew is huge. It's not like long, but it's dense. But we'll decide on that later. Right now, we're going to go ahead and finish up Job. So let's get this party started. So we last left off on the chapter 17. We ended on chapter 16 after Job basically told his friends that they were okay. Can you guys hear me now? It looks like I got my audio back. Are we good? Are we good? Yes. Yes, no, maybe so. Okay. I don't know why I can't see my TikTok chat on here. Like when I try to pull it up, it's like it shows it, but for some reason it's let's try that. Okay. Okay, y'all can hear me. Good. Good, good, good. All right. Well, I guess I got to re-say everything I just said. Basically, Job, part 2. I want to try to finish this up today, and then we can decide what book we're going to do next. Somebody suggested Hebrews last time, but I'm open to suggestions. I would prefer something New Testament, though, since we're Old Testament right now. But anyway, I'm going to have to read the chat off of... Yeah, I'm going to have to read the chat off my phone. You got a question on free will and predestination? Go ahead. On the free will and predestination thing. JT, that is. And while I wait on that, I am gonna go ahead and get started on this. Once I get your question, I'll answer it. And if I can try to get this dog on TikTok chat up again. Yeah, I don't know why my TikTok is acting stupid. Whatever. Okay. All right, let's get this party started. I've dawdled long enough. So Job says, my spirit is broken and my days are extinct. By the way, we left off where he was basically telling his friends, I know all this stuff that you're telling me. You guys aren't as smart as you think you are. If it was me, I would have been comforting you. That's basically what Job told them. He accused them of being bad friends. Bad friends and fake wise, basically. And now he's continuing then. He says, my spirit is broken, my days are extinct, the graveyard is ready for me. Surely there are mockers about me, and my eye dwells on their provocation. Lay down a pledge for me with you who is there who will pull me up, security for me. Since you have closed their hearts to understanding, therefore you will not let them triumph. He who informs against his friend to get a share of their property, the eyes of his children will fail. He has made me a byword of the peoples, and I am one before whom men spit. They spit at him. I have to get into like the flow of reading, by the way. I know I'm a little choppy right now. He has made me a byword of the peoples, and I am one before whom men spit. My eye has grown dim from vexation, and all my members are like a shadow. The uptight are appalled at this, and the innocent stirs himself up against the godless. Yet the righteous holds to his sway, and he who has clean hands grows stronger and stronger. But you, come on again, all of you, and I shall not find a wise man among you. My days are past, my plans are broken off. The desires of my plans are broken off, the desires of my heart. They make night into day. The light, they say, is near to darkness. If I hope for Sheol as my house, if I make my bed in darkness, if I say to the pit, you are my father, and to the worm, my mother or my sister, where then is my hope? Who will see my hope? Will it go down to the bars of Sheol? Shall we descend together into the dust? So what the heck is Job talking about here? Basically, remember that Job who was just telling his friends that they haven't comforted him, and they're trying to convince him that he has done something wrong. And what they really want is for him to admit he has done something wrong. And this is not just because they're worried about him and they want him to repent. Like he said in an earlier chapter, it's because they're afraid. They're afraid that a righteous person is suffering, and it's basically going against all of their wisdom. So they want Job to admit that he's wrong. But when he's saying, where is my hope? He's basically saying, I really need to stop drinking pop during these things. When he says, like, if I go down into the pit, if I make hell my house or Sheol my house, where is my hope? He's saying basically, if I give up, if I admit that I was wrong and there really is no justice in the world, then where is my hope? Then I can't hope to be, because Job's whole thing is he still kind of has this same wisdom they have, that sin equals bad life, righteousness equals good life. And he thinks that God he's almost accusing God of making a clerical error. So his hope is that God will hear him, because, and he's going to say this a little bit in the future, if God will hear him out and examine his case as if he doesn't see everything, then he will be proved righteous. That is the hope that he has, that at the very least he will be proven right. Sorry, I'm just looking at chat a little bit right now. I still don't know why I can't get my doggone TikTok chat up on OBS here. Although now I think about it, I could probably pull it up on my computer in another window. But yeah, that's what he was trying to say. Hold on, oh, there it is. I lost my window. Okay, so Bildad the Shuhite answers, and he says, how long will you hunt for words? Consider, and then we will speak. Why are we counted as cattle? Why are we stupid in your sight? You who tear yourself in anger, shall the earth be forsaken for you, or the rock be removed out of its place? So when he's saying this, will the earth be forsaken for you, or the rock removed out of its place, they're still on this whole, we have the wisdom of the ages on our side. Everybody agrees with us. This is the majority scholarly opinion, basically. And he's like, okay, so you're the anomaly. Like, or like my mom would have said if I said that, if everybody said I was doing something, so everybody's lying on you. Everybody's lying but you. That's what he's telling Job. But no, the rock's not going to be removed out of its place for you. So you're wrong. The wisdom is right. Indeed, the light of the wicked is put out, and the flame of fire does not shine. The flame of his fire does not shine. So now he's going on with more of the conventional wisdom about what happens to the wicked. The light is dark in his tent, and his lamp above him is put out. His strong steps are shortened, and his own schemes throw him down. For he is cast into a net by his own feet, and he walks on its mesh. A trap seizes him by the heel, a snare lays hold of him, a rope is hidden for him in the ground. Hold up. No. Sorry. A rope is hidden for him in the ground. I lost my place. I'm not on it today. Come on, Marcel, get it together. A trap for him in the path. Terrors frighten him on every side and chase him at his heels. His strength is famished, and calamity is ready for his stumbling. It consumes the parts of his skin. The firstborn of death consumes his limbs. He is torn from the tent in which he trusted and brought to the king of terrors. In his tent dwells that which is none of his. Sulfur is scattered over his habitation. His roots dry up beneath, his branches wither above. His memory perishes from the earth. He has no name in the street. He has no name in these streets. And this is all stuff that's supposed to happen to the wicked. This is more of the conventional wisdom. He is thrust from the light into darkness and driven out of the world. He has no posterity or progeny among his people, and no survivor where he used to live. They of the west are appalled at his day. Horror seizes them of the east. Surely such are the dwellings of the unrighteous. Such is the place of him who knows not God. So that was kind of just more of the same. And unfortunately, this is almost how the rest of the book goes. They keep giving him they just keep repeating the conventional wisdom. And Job even says, he might even say it in this chapter, that I already know all this stuff. So what is your point? And he says, how long will you torment me? How long will you torment me and break me in pieces with words? These 10 times you have cast reproach on me. Are you not ashamed to wrong me? And even if it be true that I have erred, my error remains with myself. If indeed you magnify yourselves against me and make my disgrace an argument against me. Know then that God has put me in the wrong and closed his net about me. Behold, I cry out violence, but I am not answered. I call for help, but there is no justice. So real quick, he's saying, again, accusing them basically of being bad friends. He's like, look, say I am wrong, hypothetically. Okay, clearly I'm being punished. I'm in a bad place right now. So do you guys have to do this to me right now? But he said, God has closed his net about me. Behold, I cry out violence, but I am not answered. I call for help, but there is no justice. He has walled up my way so I cannot pass. And he has set darkness upon my paths. He has stripped from me my glory, and taken the crown from my head. He breaks me down on every side, and I am gone. And my hope he has pulled up like a tree. He has kindled his wrath against me, and counts me as his adversary. his troops come on together. They have cast up their siege ramp against me and encamp around my tent. He has put my brothers far from me, and those who knew me are wholly estranged from me. My relatives have failed me. My close friends have forgotten me. The guests in my house and my maidservants count me as a stranger. I have become a foreigner in their eyes. I call to my servant, and he gives no answer. I must plead with him. I must plead with my mouth for mercy. Darn it. I must plead with him with my mouth for mercy. Goodness, that was a kind of a weird sentence. My breath is strange to my wife. That right there kind of stung, because he said, my wife said my breath stinks. And I am a stench to my children, to the children of my own mother. Even young children despise me. When I rise, they talk against me. All my intimate friends abhor me, and those whom I loved have turned against me. My bones stick to my skin and to my flesh, and I have escaped by the skin of my teeth. I did not know before reading Job that this phrase came from the Bible, escaping by the skin of your teeth. I once thought about putting together an entire collection of phrases that come from the Bible, like rise and shine, and like in the 11th hour, stuff like that. I've just been too lazy to do it. But anyway, have mercy on me, O you, my friends, for the hand of God has touched me. Why do you, like God, pursue me? Why are you not satisfied with my flesh? So again, all of that stuff that he was just saying, that horrible stuff that's been happening to him, his thing is, okay. So if I did sin, if I did do this thing that you guys are accusing me of doing, even though you can't tell me what I did, I'm being punished for it. I am in the worst shape of my life, and you guys are supposed to be my friends. Can you, at the very least, chill on me a little bit? Like, is what God is doing to me not already bad enough? And this is another thing, and I know this is another thing that I kind of felt as an apologist reading Job. I kind of feel a little convicted, because sometimes when bad things are happening, especially because the problem of evil is so prevalent, you do almost find yourself sort of going into, at least I do, you find yourself going into argument mode when people are suffering. And sometimes it was like Job was saying, sometimes people need comfort more than they need to hear your arguments. And Job is like, my life is bad enough. I don't need you guys to make it worse. Where the heck have I been? I haven't been anywhere. I've been posting. I've been chilling. Where am I? And I don't think I'm shadow banned. I posted a video yesterday. I got like 10,000 views. So I don't know. But I'm glad to see you too. Where am I? Oh, why do you, like God, pursue me? Why are you not satisfied with my flesh? Oh, that my words were written. Oh, that they were inscribed in a book. Well, I got good news for you, Job. But oh, that with an iron pen and lead they were engraved in the rock forever. For I know that my Redeemer lives, and at the last he will stand upon the earth. And after my skin has been thus destroyed, yet in my flesh I shall see God, whom I shall see for myself. Now, if this ain't messianic, I don't know. I don't know what is. When I see, I know my Redeemer lives, and he's going to stand on the earth, and it's like, okay, was the author who wrote Job writing about Jesus? Maybe not. But was God? Yeah, it does seem odd. It doesn't just seem oddly direct. It's the type of thing that I feel like somebody would say was put in there later, even if there's no evidence of it, just because it's so. As a matter of fact, I wonder. Let me take a detour real quick. I'm gonna pull up ChatGPT. I want to see what Jews think of the like non-messianic Jews think the Redeemer is in Job. Let me see something for a second, because this is interesting to me. Hold up. Let me see what the ChatGPT says about this. Hold up. Let's pull it up. Let's pull up the AI. Who do, let's say, Orthodox Jews? Orthodox Jews interpret the Redeemer differently than, duh, what is it though? The Redeemer as God, not Messiah. Most Orthodox Jews see interpretations that see God himself. Well, okay. The term Goel in Hebrew refers to a close relative who redeems or avenges, as the laws of course, not a messianic prophecy. Unlike many Christian interpretations, Orthodox Jews do not see this as a prophecy of the Messiah, of course. The Redeemer is usually interpreted as God, as judge and vindicator. Okay, see, my only thing about that is I'm pretty sure, hold on. Let's go back to because I am pretty doggone sure my oh, hold up, I put this in the wrong spot. There we go. Yeah, maybe it goes against God being able. Well, this is Old Testament, and there are a few times when God appears in the flesh. And I think this is also a reason people say that Job is the oldest book in the Bible, because it has some things that people would consider like things that weren't developed, as you would say, if you believe in that sort of thing, which I kind of don't. But like ideas like Leviathan and, you know, God being in the flesh. But, you know, you have things in the Old Testament like the angel of the Lord, which a lot of times is God appearing like corporeally, I like to say. But even though, but this is what gets me about it. He said that, hold on. I know my Redeemer lives. Where we go? I know my Redeemer lives, and last will stand upon the earth, and after my skin has been destroyed, yet in my flesh I shall see God. Oh, yeah, my eyes shall behold, and not another. My heart faints within me. If you say, how will we pursue him? Okay, it's not here. It's something else. Hold on, let me go back. He said at some point, I don't know where it is. I don't want to go back too far. But he said, hey, Kev, what's going on? I'm reading Job right now, trying to figure out, well, not trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out why people would not think the Redeemer Job talks about is Jesus. But at one point he talks about having an intercessor who said, you know what, that might be actually be later on in the book. But I don't know. I love the I know my Redeemer lives part, because it's like, come on, man, you don't get much more messianic than that. But hey, I'm just a Christian. So maybe that's the reason. I don't know. But anyway, it says, in my flesh I shall see God, whom I shall see for myself, and my eyes will behold, and not another. My heart faints within me. If you say, how will we pursue him? And the root of the matter is found in him. Be afraid of the sword. For wrath brings punishment of the sword, that you may know there is a judgment. Then Zophar the Naamite answered and said, therefore my thoughts answer me, because of my haste within me. I hear censor that insults me, and out of my understanding a spirit answers me. Do you not know this from old, since man was placed on the earth? That the exalting of the wicked is short, and the joy of the godless but for a moment. So again, we have to remember, not only is this conventional wisdom, these are sort of attacks on Job. because he was rich, acclaimed, and famous. He had everything, and then he suddenly lost everything. So their wisdom tells them the wicked are exalted and then brought low. So Job must be wicked. Chapter 9, verse 33. Could be. Let me see. I'm at chapter 20 right now. Let me go to chapter 9. There is no arbiter between us who might lay. Let him take his rod away from me. I don't. No, I don't think this is it. I think it comes later. I think it comes after where I am now. Because he was saying there is no arbiter between him and God in that chapter, but later on he kind of implies that there is. But okay, this is Zophar. Yeah, because he's saying that basically Job is this wicked person who had everything and is now being brought low as punishment. So where are we at? Oh, the exalting of the wicked is short, and the joy of the godless but for a moment. Though his height mount up to the heavens, and his head reach to the clouds, he will perish forever like his own dung. And those who have seen him will say, where is he? He will fly away like a dream and not be found. He will be chased away like a vision of the night. The eye that saw him will see him no more, nor will his place any more behold him. His children will seek the favor of the poor, and his hands will give back his wealth. His bones are full of his youthful vigor, but it will lie down with him in the dust. Though evil is sweet in his mouth, though he hides it under his tongue, though he is loath to let it go and holds it in his mouth, yet his food is turned in his stomach. It is the venom of cobras within him. He swallows down riches and vomits them up again. God cast them out of his belly. He will suck the poison of cobras. The tongue of a viper will kill him. He will not look upon the rivers, the streams flowing with honey and curds. He will give back the fruit of his toil and will not swallow it down from the profit of his trading. He will get no enjoyment. From the profit of his trading, he will get no enjoyment. For he has crushed and abandoned the poor. He has seized a house that he did not build, because he knew no contentment in his belly. He will not let anything in which he delights escape him. What? He will not let anything in which he delights escape him. Anything in which he delights escape him. What is wrong with me? There's nothing left. There's nothing left after he had eaten. Therefore his prosperity will not endure. In the fullness of his sufficiency he will be in distress. The hand of everyone in misery will come against him. To fill his belly to the full, God will send his burning anger against him, and it rain upon him into his body. He will flee from an iron weapon. A bronze arrow will strike him through. It is drawn forth and comes out of his body. This is brutal. It is drawn forth and comes out of his body. The glittering point comes out of his gallbladder. Jesus. Terrors come upon him. Utter darkness is laid up for his treasures. A fire not fanned will devour him. What is left in his tent will be consumed. The heavens will reveal his iniquity, and the earth will rise up against him. The possessions of his house will be carried away, dragged off in the day of God's wrath. This is the wicked man's portion from God, the heritage decreed for him by God. So you can see now why Job is a little irritated with these guys, because they're supposed to be his friends. And not only do they not believe him, they're basically telling him that he deserved all of this because he is the wicked person being described here. Not because they know what he's done, but because this bad stuff happened to him. They're telling him he had it coming, basically. And Job answered and said, keep listening to my words. Let this be your comfort. Bear with me, and I will speak. And after I have spoken, mock on. As for me, is my complaint against man. For why should I not be impatient? Look at me and be appalled, and lay your hand over your mouth. He said, put your hand over your mouth. And remember, I am dismayed, and shuddering seizes my flesh. Why do the wicked live, reach old age, and grow mighty in power? So now Job is kind of rebutting this whole thing about the wicked are brought down and the wicked are torn down and things bad happen to the wicked. He's saying, why do the wicked live, reach old age, and grow mighty in power? Their offspring are established in their presence, and their descendants before their eyes. Their houses are safe from fear, and no rod of God is upon them. Their bull breeds without fail, their cow calves, and does not miscarry. They send out their little boys like a flock, and their children dance. They sing to the tambourine and lyre, and rejoice to the sound of the pipe. They spend their days in prosperity, and in peace they go down to Sheol. They say to God, depart from us. We do not desire the knowledge of your ways. What is the Almighty that we should serve him? And what profit do we get if we pray to him? Behold, is not their prosperity in their hand? The counsel of the wicked is far from me. So Job is like, you keep telling me all of these horrible things that will happen to the wicked and these bad things that are happening to me because I'm this wicked person. I must be this bad person. But then he's like, when I look around and I see people who are actually wicked, they're chilling. They're doing fine. So you're trying to tell me all these bad things that happen to me because I'm evil, but I'm not evil. And I look around at people who are evil and they're all doing a whole lot better than me. And if that ain't relatable, I don't know what is. I'm just saying. But this is also kind of an L for Job, because again, he's accusing God of being incompetent. He hasn't cursed God. He hasn't done this whole depart from us like he's saying that the wicked do, but he is accusing God of being incompetent because God is supposed to punish the wicked. God is supposed to deal out justice, but where is he at? Why am I the one suffering and they're not? So he says, how often is it that the lamp of the wicked is put out, that their calamity comes upon them, that God distributes pains in his anger? As a matter of fact, this is the weirdest anecdote, but it reminds me of a feeling I had. I was driving with my wife on this street. It's kind of a narrow street. It was a residential area. The street's kind of narrow. Only one car can really fit on it. Two, if you guys are like driving really side by side, but you're not really supposed to do that. And this car just decided to go. Oh, and it's a two-way street, by the way. This car jumped in the opposite lane, just got impatient, jumped in the opposite lane and sped in front of me, got around me. And you know how people are. So I'm like, what an idiot. What an idiot. That was exactly what I said. Nothing worse than that. And when I pulled up to the light, I saw a police car behind that car, and the police turned their lights on. When I tell you, that was one of the best, that literally made my entire week. And when I say it made my week, I was thinking about it the next week. But the thing is, how often does stuff like that happen? Usually when people are driving like morons, nothing happens. They get away with it. And this is kind of the feeling that Job has. Yes, every now and then you will see the wicked get their comeuppance, but for the most part, they die in peace. They're horrible their entire lives, and they die in peace. And I'm going to say this, and I might get some flack for this. I know I'll get some flack for a certain crowd. That's why I believe in hell. I mean, I believe in hell because of the Bible, but just on a personal note, it's like, I don't know how, if there is no hell, I don't know how I can believe that God is truly just. Now, whether you think hell is annihilation or eternal conscious torment or whatever, the whole point of it, that's why I'm like, like some people think the idea of hell keeps them from being a Christian, but I'm like, man, that's part of the, like, heaven is our hope, obviously, but hell is a part of it. Hell is a part of it, because I tell people that what hell is a guarantee, an absolute guarantee that no matter how horrible things are in this world, justice will prevail, that evil's not going to have the last word. And that's kind of what Job, and that's kind of what Job is kind of lamenting here, because he's not talking about final justice. He's saying that God's not just, because he says that the wicked live their lives and they'll die and it's over. Loki reinforced it. Yeah, it does. It does for me. But anyway, he says their calamity comes upon them, that God distributes pain in his anger, that they are like straw before the wind and like chaff that the storm carries away. You say God stores up their iniquity for their children. Let him pay it out to them that they may know it. Let their own eyes see their destruction, and let them drink the wrath of the Almighty. So he's saying, they say that God, and this is in the Bible, he says that, this is why I say, like, Job almost rails against a couple of things that are in the other parts of the Old Testament, because he says that God does store up wrath for your children, to the third and the fourth, I think it is, generation. And God saying, why are you storing up wrath for the third and fourth generation? Give it to the people who are doing this stuff. That's what he's saying. Let their own eyes see their destruction. Let them drink. And again, this is Job criticizing God's way of doing things. He says, for what do they care for their houses after them, when the number of their months is cut off? He's saying, who cares? If they're dead, why should they care what happens to their children and their children's children? Will any teach God knowledge, seeing that he judges those who are on high? One dies in his full vigor, being wholly at ease and secure, his pails full of milk and the marrow of his bones moist. Another dies in bitterness of soul, never having tasted prosperity. They lie down alike in the dust, and the worms cover them. Behold, I know your thoughts and your schemes to wrong me. For you say, where is the house of the prince? Where is the tent in which the wicked lived? Have you not asked those who travel the roads, and do you not accept their testimony, that the evil man is spared in the day of calamity, that he is rescued in the day of wrath, who declares his way to his face? Who declares his way to his face, and who repays him for what he has done? When he is carried to the grave, watch is kept over his tomb. The clods of the valley are sweet to him. All mankind follows after him, and those who go before him are innumerable. How then will you comfort me with empty nothings? He said, y'all talking bull. How then will you comfort me with empty nothings? There is nothing left of your answers but falsehood. So he just basically debunked everything that the guy before him said. Because he's talking about God stores up wrath for the wicked. He's like, does he though? Because when towns and cities are ransacked, guess who gets out? The nobles, the people who are exploiting people, the wicked who are supposed to fall by the sword. They're not falling by the sword. As a matter of fact, they're revered as great people, and they even have watch kept over their tombs. So what are you talking about? Basically what Job said. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, can a man be profitable to God? Surely he who is wise is profitable to himself. Is it any pleasure to the Almighty that you are in the right, or is it gain to him that you make your ways blameless? Is it for fear of him that he reproves you and enters into judgment with you? Is not your evil abundant? There is no end to your iniquities, for you have exacted. And he's about to just go off on Job, accusing him of all kinds of stuff. He says, for you have exacted pledges to your brothers for nothing and stripped the naked of their clothing. You have given no water to the weary to drink, and you have withheld bread from the hungry. The man with power possessed the land, and favored the man lived in it, and the favored man lived in it. You have sent widows away empty. Uh-oh. You have sent widows away empty, and the arms of the fatherless were crushed. Therefore, the snares are all around you, and sudden terror overwhelms you, or darkness so you cannot see, and a flood of water covers you. So he's just straight up accusing Job of all kinds of stuff. He said that you done took food out of people's mouths. You done made pledges. He's accusing Job. And remember, Job is a righteous man. We're not in the dark about this. God himself confirmed that Job is righteous. So this dude is just slandering, supposed to be his friend, slandering the heck out of Job just because bad things are happening to him. If bad things are happening to you, you must be a terrible person. You must have done all these horrible things in order to deserve it. And what's crazy is there are people who still think like this. Now, we know this isn't the case just because, not only because of Job, but because of Jesus. There was a part in one of the Gospels. We're definitely going to go over the Gospel of John, by the way, at some point. We might do it after Hebrews and Old Testament, then go to Gospel of John. But anyway, when they asked, was the man born blind, the man who was born blind? They said, who sinned, him or his parents? They assumed there was some sin involved, or else why is this guy blind? But this guy, Eliphaz, is taking it a step further and not only saying that Job must have sinned, now he's telling Job what he did. He's like, this is what you did. How do you know? Because bad things are happening to you. It's a circular argument. How do you know? How do you know I did these bad things? Because bad things are happening to you. How do you know that that's why the bad things are happening to me? Because you did these things, obviously. Anyway, is not God high in the heavens? Sees the highest stars, how lofty they are. Darn it, how lofty they are. But you say, what does God know? Can he judge through deep darkness? Thick clouds veil him, so he does not see. He walks on the vault of heaven. So even now, he's still accusing Job. He's saying that you're pretending to be righteous because we didn't see you. We didn't see these bad things that you definitely did, even though we can't prove it. Then you think that God doesn't see you. He's saying, can he judge through deep darkness? Thick clouds veil him so that he does not see, and he walks on the vault of heaven. Will you keep the old way that wicked men have trod? They were snatched away before their time, their foundations washed away. They said to God, depart from us. And what can the Almighty do to us? Yet he filled their houses with good things, but the counsel of the wicked is far from me. The righteous see it and are glad. The innocent one mocks at them, saying, surely your adversaries are cut off, and that they left and what they left the fire has consumed. Agree with God and be at peace. Thereby good will come to you. Receive instruction from his mouth and lay up his words in your heart. If you return to the Almighty, you will be built up. If you remove injustice far from your tents, if you lay gold in the dust and gold of whatever that word is among the stones of the torrent bed, then the Almighty will be your gold and your precious silver. Are we good? Can I be heard? Okay. I think my cord is messed up. I got to get a new cord. Doggone it. Okay. Where did I leave off? What was the last thing we heard? Okay. Ah, that's so annoying. I swear the stuff is almost brand new too, but I don't want to blame everything on the kids. But I wish they would stop breaking stuff so I could stop blaming things on them. Whew. And I don't want to be that dad that's like, you're not allowed in here. I don't want to be that guy. But now I know why those guys exist, because it's irritating. He was accusing Job even though he didn't see him do anything. Yeah. He's straight up accusing Job of doing all kinds of heinous stuff. He didn't see him do nothing. And not only, and because he didn't see him do it, he's accusing Job of hiding it. He's like, you can hide it from me, but you can't hide it from God. And Job's like, I'm not hiding nothing. I didn't do anything. Okay. Well, I could reread it, but basically he accused Job of hiding the stuff, and then he's telling him, agree with God. This says, agree with God and be at peace. So he's saying, agree with God, because he's saying that God basically, oh yeah, it might be because I'm putting, because I got the cool mugs in here. My daughter has some cool mugs too. She likes to drink chocolate milk when I drink coffee. But yeah, he basically said, when he says agree with God, hey, look, okay, there's a difference between me blaming the kids and Job. Job knows that he is a righteous man. Job's friends don't know that he did anything wrong. I know for doggone sure that these kids, come on. You know how God spoke from the whirlwind? They are the whirlwind. My daughter actually just graduated from preschool. She's going to kindergarten. My mom asked her where her favorite place to shop was, and she told her Five Below, because she loves to get little trinkets and stuff from Five Below. And I let her do it sometimes. My mom gave her $30. $30. I told you, giving this girl $30 to spend at Five Below is basically summoning a tornado to my living room. That's what you just did. That's why I can't keep this place clean. But anyway, as a matter of fact, let me move over so y'all can't see so much of the mess. Anyway, where was I? Okay, yeah, because he told him, agree with God and be at peace. Basically, you did it, admit you did it, and you'll be good. And Job answered and said, today also my complaint is bitter. My hand is heavy on account of my groaning. Oh, that I knew where I might find him, that I might come even to his seat, that I would lay my case before him and fill my mouth with arguments. I would know that he would answer me and understand what he would say to me. Would he contend with me in the greatness of his power? No, he would pay attention to me. There an upright man could argue with him, and I would be acquitted forever by my judge. Behold, I go forward, but he is not there, and backward, but I do not perceive him. On the left when he is working, I do not behold him. He turns to the right, but I do not see him. But he knows the way I take. When he has tried me, I shall come out as gold. My foot has held fast to his steps. I have kept his way and have not turned aside. So he's saying that the reason these bad things are happening to him, again, he's almost paying God a backhanded compliment, because he's saying, I know that God is just, which is why I know these bad things happening to me must be some kind of mistake. And if he would hear me out, then he would acquit me and I would be cool. And he's not completely wrong because Job knows that he's done everything right. But he's still sort of kind of accusing God here. Especially because he's saying like, oh, well, God, I can't reach God. I can't speak to God. Almost like God doesn't know what's happening right now. He says, I have not departed from the commandment of his lips. I have trusted the words of his mouth more than my portion of food. But he is unchangeable, and who can turn him back? What he desires, that he does. For he will complete what he appoints for me, and many such things are in his mind. Therefore I am terrified at his presence. When I consider, I am in dread of him. God has made my heart faint. The Almighty has terrified me. Yet I am not silenced because of the darkness, nor because thick darkness covers my face. He's telling me he's terrified of God, but that's not shutting him up. Because all Job's friends want him to do is shut the heck up. That's what they're trying to get him to do. They're like, stop talking all this mess about God. Just chill with your little sores and your little boils and your little destroyed house and dead children, and just take your punishment and you'll be fine. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep talking until God answers me. 24. Why are not times of judgment kept by the Almighty? Why do those who know him never see his days? Some move landmarks. They seize flocks and pasture them. He's like, why? He's basically saying this, why isn't there a schedule for this kind of stuff? Like, why do we never know when judgment is? Why can't there be a guarantee of judgment? But he says, some move landmarks. They seize flocks and pasture them. They drive away the donkey of the fatherless. They take the widow's ox for a pledge. They thrust the poor off the road, and the poor of the earth all hide themselves. One thing I want to pause real quick to bring up is to show how all throughout the Old Testament, even in Job, the telltale sign of evil and wickedness is mistreating the poor. That's all they talk about. What you do to the poor, what you do to the widow, what you do to the fatherless. Whenever somebody brings up how evil somebody is, it's always how badly they treat the poor. What was going on here? We're reading Job. I'm trying to get through the rest of the book today. And I'm just talking about it. But yeah, notice how throughout the Old Testament, like the telltale sign of evil is always treating the poor badly. That's something that I think we should all keep in mind. And look at the parable of the sheep and the goats. What does that all hinge on? How you treat the people who are hungry and who don't have clothes or who don't have shelter. So it's like, hey, if you're not subscribed to at least one charity, you need to do that. And you need to make sure you're helping people. You need to make sure you're giving to the poor. That's what I'm telling you. I really wish I would plug myself right now because I did a remix of the prosperity gospel that I call the generosity gospel, but the audio is so bad. You could barely make it through the darn sermon. It's really annoying. I got to find a place to preach it again. Or I might just, make a YouTube video. But anyway. Behold, like wild donkeys in the desert, the poor go out to their toil, seeking game. The wasteland yields food for their children. They gather their fodder in the field, and they glean the vineyard of the wicked man. They lie all night naked without clothing. They have no covering in the cold. They are wet with the rain of the mountains, and cling to the rock for lack of shelter. There are those who snatch the fatherless child from the breast, and they take a pledge against the poor. They go about naked without clothing, hungry. They carry the sheaves. Among the olive rows of the wicked they make oil. They tread the winepress, but suffer thirst. From out of the city the dying groan, and the soul of the wounded cries for help. Yet God charges no one with wrong. That is a bold statement from Job. Isn't Job? You know what's funny? I was listening to Job on my job. That's why I decided to do this. I was calling Job the book of employment. The book of jobs. There are those who rebel. There are those who rebel against the light. But hold on, before I go on, he said all of this horrible stuff that these people do, and he said, yet God charges no one with wrong. Again, accusing God of being incompetent. All of this horrible stuff is going on, but God doesn't charge any of them with wrong. How do you know that God doesn't charge them with wrong? Because all this bad stuff isn't happening to them. So again, Job thinks he knows everything because Job has this same worldly wisdom that his friends have. There are those who rebel against the light, who are not acquainted with its ways and do not stay in its paths. The murderer rises before it is light, that he may kill the poor and needy, and in the night he is like a thief. The eye of the adulterer also waits for the twilight, saying, no eye will see me, and he veils his face. In the dark they dig through houses, by day they shut themselves up. They do not know the light. Sound like, I'm not going to say that. For deep darkness is morning to all of them, for they are friends with the terrors of deep darkness. You say, swift are they on the face of the waters. Their portion is cursed in the land. No treader turns toward their vineyards. Drought and heat snatch away the snow waters. So does Sheol. So does Sheol those who have sinned. Oh, the water snatches them away like Sheol does. Okay. The womb forgets them. The worm finds them sweet. They are no longer remembered. So wickedness is broken like a tree. They are wrong. They wrong the barren, childless woman and do no good to the widow. Yet God prolongs the life of the Almighty by his power. They rise up when they despair of life. He gives them security. He's talking about what God does for the wicked. He gives them security, and they are supported, and his eyes are upon their ways. They are exalted a little while, and then are gone. They are brought low and gathered up like all others. They are cut off like heads of grain. If it is not so, who will prove me a liar and show there is nothing in what I say? So Job is getting bold. He's like, if I'm lying, prove me wrong. Almost sounds like me. People be talking so much mess, and I'm like, prove me wrong. That's all I'm asking you to do. Then Bildad the Shuhite answered and said, dominion and fear are with God. This is short. He makes his peace in his high heaven. Is there any number to his armies? Upon whom does his light not arise? How then can man be in the right before God? My reading is going downhill again. How can he who was born of woman be pure? Behold, even the moon is not bright, and the stars are not pure in his eyes. Hold on a second. Come on, Hart. That's my kid. What's up? I'm streaming.
Well,
Hurry up.
I just need to search for Sprite.
You can't do that right now. If you need to search for something, use my laptop. Okay.
But I can't do it by myself.
I can't help you right now. Go. I'll help you when I'm done. Close the door, please.
Okay, I can ask my mom.
Okay. Yeah, ask your mom. I prefer if you ask your mom, actually. Sorry about that. Anyway. Behold, the moon is not... Oh, where was I at? Oh, he's talking about God. How can he who was born of woman be pure? Behold, even the moon is not bright, and the stars are not pure in his eyes. How much less then a man who is a maggot, and the son of man who is a worm? So now they've defaulted to an argument that I've actually used before, which is nobody's good. You're claiming that you're good and righteous, but nobody is. So you must have done something. They are doing what the philosophers call reaching at this point. Because first it was you must have done something, because that's why God is punishing you. And now it's you must have done something because everybody does something. Nobody is righteous. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't continue to use that argument, because I will. But like I said before, this is a story. And for the purposes, and for literary purposes, Job is righteous. We already had that confirmed at the beginning. So even if the historical Job was not a perfect man, he is for the purposes of this story. And we don't know about the historical Job. Anyway, Job answered and said, how have you... Oh yeah. I love it when Job kind of starts going off on his friends too. Because he says, Job answered and said, how you have helped him who has no power. How you have saved the arm that has no strength. How you have counseled him who has no wisdom, and plentifully declared sound knowledge. With whose help have you uttered words, and whose breath has come out from you? So he's like, oh, wow, you guys just helped me so much. Thank you. This is sarcasm. This is sarcasm in the Bible. This is 3,000-year-old sarcasm. I love it. He said, with whose help have you uttered words, and whose breath has come from you? The dead tremble under the waters. The dead tremble under the waters, and their inhabitants. Sheol is naked before God. And Abaddon, that's the abyss, has no covering. He stretches out the north over the void. It hangs the earth on nothing. He binds up the waters in his thick clouds, and the cloud is not split open under them. He covers the face of the full moon and spreads it over his cloud. He has inscribed a circle on the face of the waters at the boundary between light and darkness. The pillars of heaven tremble and are astounded at his rebuke. By his power he stilled the sea. By his understanding he shattered Rahab. By his wind the heavens were made fair. His hand pierced the fleeing serpent. Behold, these are but the outskirts of his ways. This is just the beginning. These are but the outskirts of his ways. And how small a whisper do we hear from him? But the thunder of his power, who can understand? So real quick, he's saying that God is, this is just a fraction of God's power, all of this crazy stuff he named. But we don't see any of this. And he's telling them, like, you guys, again, we're going back to conventional wisdom. Like, are you guys really wise? Because he's like, oh, you guys have helped me so much. But who's uttering these words? Whose breath is coming out of you? Because God is super powerful. God is unbelievably powerful. If God wanted to, he could speak. He's going to speak very soon. But he's like, if God was speaking through you, I would be able to tell. But we get nothing from him. Said the thunder of his power, who can understand? How could you understand God? And Job kind of gets it, that only God is wise, that they don't understand God's wisdom. But 27, Job continues. And Job again took up his discourse and said, as God lives, who has taken away my right, and the Almighty who has made my soul bitter, as long as my breath is in me and the Spirit of God is in my nostrils, my lips will not speak falsehood and my tongue will not utter deceit. Far be it from me to say that you are right. He's like, I'm not going to say you are right. Till I die, I will not put away my integrity from me. I hold fast to my righteousness and will not let it go. My heart does not reproach me for any of my days. Let my enemy be as the wicked, and let him who rises up against me be as the unrighteous. For what is the hope of the godless when God cuts him off, when God takes away his life? Will God hear his cry when distress comes upon him? Will he take delight in the Almighty? Will he call upon God at all times? I will teach you concerning the hand of God. What is with the Almighty, I will not conceal. Now, before he goes into what it is, the hand of God, what is Job saying here when he's saying for what is the hope of the godless when God cuts him off, and will God hear his cry? He's saying, I'm not going to sit here and act like I did something wrong, because what hope, and he said this before, what hope do I have if I really am wicked? You're like, you guys spent 20 something chapters telling me all of the horrible stuff that happens to the wicked. I'm not wicked. And my hope is that God is going to see me and know that I'm not evil. And then I won't be cut off. But he's saying, if he said, will God hear his cry when distress comes upon him? He's like, if I really am wicked, if I sit here and admit that I'm evil, then God's not going to hear all of these terrible cries of mine. So I'm not going to admit that I've done something wrong, because I haven't done anything wrong. And he says, I will teach you concerning the hand of God. What it is with the Almighty, I will not conceal. Behold, all of you have seen it yourselves. Why then have you become altogether vain? This is the portion of the wicked man with God. And here we go again. We've seen this enough times to know this is going to happen by now. Wicked bad. And the heritage of the oppressors that oppressors receive from the Almighty. So this, Job is saying, this is what my fate is if I go ahead and do what you guys are saying and admit that I've done wrong. If his children are multiplied, it is for the sword. If his descendants have not enough bread, those who survive him the pestilence buries, and his widows do not weep. Though he heap up silver like dust and pile up clothing like clay, he may pile it up, but the righteous will wear it, and the innocent will divide the silver. He builds his house like a moths, like a booth that a watchman makes. He goes to bed rich, but will do so no more. He opens his eyes, and his wealth is gone. Terrors overtake him like a flood in the night, and like a flood in the night, a whirlwind carries him off. The east wind lifts him up, and he is gone. It sweeps him out of place. It hurls him without pity. He flees from its power in a headlong fight. It claps at him. It claps its hands at him and hisses at him from its place. Surely, what the heck? Hold on. My bad. Surely there is a mine for silver, a place for gold that they refine. Iron is taken out of the earth, and copper is smelted from the ore. Man puts an end to darkness and stretches out over the farthest limit the ore in gloom and deep darkness. He opens shafts in a valley from where anyone lives, away from where anyone lives. They are forgotten by travelers. They hang in the air far away from mankind. They swing to and fro. As for the earth, out of it comes bread, but underneath it is turned up as by fire. Its stones are the place of sapphires. It has dust of gold. The path no bird of prey knows, and the falcon's eye has not seen it. He's talking about like this underground. The proud beasts have not trodden it. The lion has not passed over it. Man puts his hand to the flinty rock and overturns mountains by the roots. He cuts out channels in the rocks, and his eye sees every precious thing. He's talking about mining and all this. He dams up the streams so that they do not trickle, and the thing that is hidden he brings to light. But where shall wisdom be found? And where is the place of understanding? Man does not know its worth, and it is not found in the land of the living. So he's saying that man can basically tear the earth apart. They can go places that no animal can go. They can go deep underground and find all kinds of precious things. But even doing that, man does not have the ability to find wisdom. Pretty deep. But where shall wisdom be found? And where is the place of understanding? Man does not know its worth. Again, we're going back to like the motif of jewels and stuff. Like, we can't find wisdom. We don't know how much it's worth. And it is not found in the land of the livings. The deep says, it is not in me. And the sea says, it is not with me. It cannot be bought for gold, and silver cannot be weighed at its price. It cannot be valued in the gold of... This is Ophir. Oh, that's a place. Oh, it's a land known for fine gold. Okay, over. In precious onyx or sapphire. Gold and glass cannot equal it. You know, normally when I come across words like this when I'm reading, I look up how to pronounce them before I do a Bible study. Makes me seem smart. Um, Gold and glass cannot equal it, nor can it be exchanged for jewels or fine gold. No mention shall be made of coral or crystal. The price of wisdom is above pearls. The topaz of Ethiopia cannot equal it, nor can it be valued in pure gold. From where then does wisdom come, and where is the place of understanding? It is hidden from the eyes of all living and concealed from the birds of the air. Abaddon and Death say, we have heard rumor of it with our ears. So even like the pits of hell say, we've only kind of heard of wisdom. God understands the way to it, and he knows its place. For he looks to the ends of the earth and sees everything under the heavens. When he gave to the wind its weight, and apportioned the waters by measure, when he made a decree for rain, a way for lightning, the lightning of the thunder. And when he saw it and declared it, he established it, searched it out, and said to the man, God dang it, hold up. I keep getting these darn alerts on my phone. She is more precious in movies, nothing you desire compares to her. Yep. And I kind of, people say that Job is the oldest book in the Bible, but you almost see some proverbs being referenced here. As a matter of fact, here, of course, maybe it's just because the proverbs weren't written down yet. He said, he established us out, and he said to man, behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom. We know the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. The fear of the Lord, that is wisdom. And to turn away from evil is understanding. So again, Job and his friends are doing this battle of wits, so to speak. And he's like, you guys think you're so wise, but guess what? You are human. I am human. Humans cannot find wisdom. Wisdom comes from God. And guess what? He told us how to get wisdom. What is wisdom? The fear of the Lord. Guess who has the fear of the Lord? Job. He's like, I am the wise one here. Period. And Job again took up his discourse and said, and this is like Job's last hurrah in this book. This is the last thing he says, except for like cowering before God. Job again took up his discourse and said, Oh, that I were as in the months of old, as in the days when God watched over me, when his lamp shone upon my head, and by his light I walked through darkness, as I was in my prime, when the friendship of God was upon my tent, when the Almighty was yet with me. Also keep in mind, in all of this, God is on Job's side. Remember, we talked about this last time, if anybody missed it, that the whole thing between God and Satan wasn't a bet. It was Satan basically accusing Job of a crime and God vindicating Job. So God has been on Job's side this entire time when he's talking about how horribly God is against him. That when all my children were around me, when my steps were washed with butter, and the rock poured out from me streams of oil. When I went out to the gate of the city, when I prepared my seat in the square, the young men saw me and withdrew, and the aged rose and stood. The princes refrained from talking and laid their hand on their mouth. The voice of the nobles was hushed, and their tongue stuck to the roof of their mouth. When the ear heard, it called me blessed, and when the eye saw, it approved. Because I delivered the poor who cried for help, and the fatherless who had none to help them. The blessing of him who was about to perish came upon me, and I caused the widow's heart to sing for joy. I put on righteousness, and it clothed me. My justice was like a robe and a turban. I was eyes to the blind and feet to the lame. I was a father to the needy. I searched out I searched out the cause of him whom I did not know. I broke the fangs of the unrighteous and made him drop his prey from his mouth. Then I thought, I shall die in my nest, and I shall multiply my days as the sand. My roots spread out to the waters, with the dew all night on my branches. My glory fresh with me, and my bow ever new in my hand. So he's like, I thought I was going to be good, basically, because I was such a righteous person. Men listened to me and waited and kept silence for my counsel. After I spoke, they did not speak again, and my word dropped upon them. They waited for me as for the rain, and they opened their mouths as for the spring rain. I smiled on them when they had no confidence. In the light of my face, they did not cast down. I chose their way. Chose their way and sat as chief. I lived like a king among his troops, like one who comforts mourners. But now they laugh at me. Darn, I just highlighted that by accident. But now they laugh at me, men who are younger than I, whose fathers I would have disdained to set with the dogs of my flock. What could I gain from the strength of their hands? Men whose vigor is gone, though I want in hard hunger. They gnaw the dry ground by night in waste and desolation. I'm stalling out here. They pick stalwart and the leaves of bushes and the roots of the broom tree for their food. They are driven out from human company. They shout after them as after a chief. In the gullies of the torrent they must dwell, in the holes of the earth and of the rocks. Among the bushes they bray under the needles. They huddle together, a senseless, nameless brood they have whipped up out of the land. So these are the people who Job wouldn't mess with at all. Saying, and now I have become their song. I am a byword to them. They abhor me and keep aloof from me. They do not hesitate to spit at the sight of me, because God has loosed my cord and humbled me. They have cast off restraint in my presence. So all of this respect that Job used to have, because he was so good and so righteous and so wise, and everybody loved him, now that's all gone because of how low he's been brought. On my right hand the rabble rise. They push away my feet. They cast up against me their ways of destruction. They break up my path. They promote my calamity. They need no one to help them. As through a wide breach they come. Amid the crash they roll on. Terrors are turned upon me. My honor is pursued as by the wind, and my prosperity has passed away like a cloud. And now my soul is poured out within me. Days of affliction have taken hold of me. The night racks my bones, and the pain that gnaws me takes no rest. With great force my garment is disfigured. It binds me about like the collar of my tunic. God has cast me into the mire, and I have become like dust and ashes. I cry to you for help, and you do not answer me. I stand, and you only look at me. You have turned cruel to me. With the might of your hand, you persecute me. You lift me up on the wind and make me ride on it, and you toss me about in the roar of the storm. For I know that you will bring me to death and to the house appointed for all living. Yet does not one in a heap of ruin stretch out his hand and in his disaster cry for help? Did I not weep for him whose day was hard? Was my soul not grieved for the needy? But when I hoped for good, evil came, and when I waited for light, darkness came. Again, this is Job just saying that he needed help. What he really needed was people to be there for him and empathize with him and comfort him. And he's saying, I couldn't get that. Like when I was a righteous person, that's what I gave. But I couldn't get that. Or he's still a righteous person, but like when everybody respected him. But now he gets none of that from his friends because of his position. What said, when I hoped for good, evil came, and when I waited for light, darkness came. My inward parts are in turmoil and never still. Days of affliction come to meet me. I go about darkened, but not by the sun. I stand up in the assembly and cry for help. I am a brother of jackals and the companion of ostriches. My skin turns black and falls from me, and my bones burn with heat. My lyre is tuned to mourning, and my pipe to the voice of those who weep. I have made a covenant with my eyes. How then could I gaze at a virgin? What would be my portion from God above and my heritage from the Almighty on high? Is not calamity for the unrighteous and disaster for the workers of iniquity? Does not he see my ways and the number of my steps? And so again, he still believes in that wisdom that his friends have been talking all this time. He's saying that this calamity stuff, all this is for the wicked. So what should I have? What should I be getting from God? And this is his appeal to God. If I have walked with falsehood and my foot is hastened to deceit, let me be weighed in a just balance and let God know my integrity. Again, suggesting that God is like that God doesn't know what he's doing. Like, if God will give me a shot, then I will prove myself right against God. If my step is turned aside from the way and my heart has gone after my eyes, and if any spot has stuck to my hands, then let me sow and another eat. Let what grows for me be rooted out. If my heart has been enticed toward a woman and I have lain in wait at my neighbor's door, then let my wife grind for another and let others bow down to her. The version I read earlier said sleep with her. Whatever. Let others bow down to her. For that would be a heinous crime. That would be an iniquity to be punished by the judges. And that would be a fire that consumes me as far as Abaddon. And it would burn at the root, burn to the root all my increase. If I have rejected the cause of my manservant or my maidservant when they brought a complaint against me, then what then shall I do when God rises up? When he makes an inquiry, what shall I answer him? Did not he who made me in the womb make him? And did not one fashion us in the womb? This is actually a pretty big deal, I think. This is kind of, it's not unrelated, but it's not really on the subject of wisdom and stuff. It's just, again, Job is talking about how good a person he was. And one of the things was manservant and his maidservant. These are slaves. And he's saying that basically, I treated them equally. This is what makes me a righteous man, because what? Were we not made in the same womb? We're all equal people. This is Old Testament. Nobody ever talks about that. But maybe I'm missing something. I got to look into it, but it seems interesting to me. Anyway, if I have withheld anything that the poor desired, or have caused the eyes of the widow to fail, or have eaten my morsel alone, and the fatherless has not eaten of it. For from my mouth the fatherless grew up with me, as with a father, and from my mother's womb I guided the widow. If I have seen anyone perish for lack of clothing, or the needy without covering, if his body has not blessed me, and if he was not warmed with the fleece of my sheep, if I have raised my hand against the fatherless, because I saw my help in the gate, then let my shoulder blade fall off from my shoulder, and let my arm be broken in its socket. For I was in terror of calamity from God, and I could not have faced his majesty. This again was the thing that he feared coming upon him the most. He said that he did all of these things because he was afraid that if he didn't do those things, what was happening would be happening to him now. And this is why I said I won't want to say that Satan was necessarily right in the first chapter, but he was kind of onto something when he said that Job's righteousness was kind of because of the protection that he had. And I think that's the interesting thing about what's happening to Job, because Job almost has the same position that Satan has. He's like, I was afraid of what would happen to me. That's why I made sure that I stayed on the straight and narrow my entire life, from birth. I stayed on the right path. But what God is saying is, that's what you think, Satan, and that's what you think, Job. But we're going to take all that away from you, and he's going to maintain his integrity. Again, I can't stress this enough. It was not a bet. God was vindicating Job. So, where are we? Oh, if I have made gold my trust, or called for fine gold my confidence, if I have rejoiced because my wealth was abundant, or because my hand had found much, if I have looked at the sun when it has shone, or the moon moving in splendor, he's talking about idolatry, and my heart has been secretly enticed, and my mouth has kissed my hand, this would also be an iniquity to be punished by the judges, for I would have been false to God above. If I have rejoiced at the ruin of him who hated me, or exulted when evil overtook him, I have not let my mouth sin by asking for his life with a curse. If the men of my tent have not said, who is there that has not been filled with his meat? Pause. The sojourner has not lodged in the street. I have opened my doors to the traveler. I have concealed my transgressions as others do. Hold up. Job did have fear. He said that the thing that he feared most has come upon him when this first happened. Wouldn't there be a difference between Job's fear of the Lord and being afraid of consequence? Yeah, sometimes I can't help myself with the pause. But sort of yes and no, as far as him being afraid of the consequence, or fearing the Lord, because we do have this idea that fear of God means reverence and respect, and it does. But at the same time, it also means the understanding that bad things may happen to you. Like I actually brought up not too long ago when I talked about a Christian influencer who had done something horrible. I said, I do think sometimes, like, do you not fear God? Like, how do you not have the fear of God when you're like, he was mistreating his wife? And it's like, you mistreat your wife, your prayers aren't going to be answered. That's not, when you pray, give us this day our daily bread, God is like, maybe, basically. So, yes, fear of God is like reverencing and respecting, but yeah, when the Bible says to work out your salvation with fear and trembling, you don't tremble with respect. And that's why, but the thing is, fear is an emotion. There are no good or bad emotions. It's just how they're directed. So the fear in that way is basically sort of this fearful reverence for God's power. Yeah, it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. Yeah, exactly. It's like it's an understanding of it's like, actually, somebody said this as a joke, but I actually think it was kind of profound. He said, I'm not afraid of tigers, but if I was ever in a room with a tiger, I would probably be scared. It's that type of thing. It's like, I'm not cowering. I'm not a coward, but I understand that there is a danger here. As a matter of fact, the tiger thing was pretty good, because even though Aslan's not a tiger, that's what they said about C.S. Lewis is so good. Aslan in the Chronicles of Narnia, when they first asked about him, they always say that he's not a tame lion. Somebody asked, is he safe? I think it was Lucy said, is he safe? This a lion. And the beaver told her, no, he's not safe. Like, he's a lion. He said he's not safe, but he is good. That's what he said to him. And that's basically how fear of God works. He's not safe. He's extremely dangerous, but he's good. So what you should be afraid of is getting on his bad side. So, where did I leave off? Yeah, I thought that tiger thing was actually hilarious when I first heard it, but I'm like, that's a good point. Okay, where I leave off. They've been filled with his meat. Because I stood in great fear of the multitude. Oh, if I have concealed my transgressions as others do, he was accused of this earlier, of concealing his transgressions. He said, if I conceal my transgressions as others do, by hiding my iniquity in my heart, because I stood in fear of the great multitude, and the contempt of families terrified me, so that I kept silence and did not go out of doors. Oh, that I had one to hear me. Here is my signature. Let the Almighty answer me. So he was saying yes, I feared the Lord. I didn't fear people though. He's like, I didn't conceal my transgressions because I was afraid of people. I didn't do anything wrong because I feared God. There's a great study. Thanks. I'm trying. I'm sweating over here. I got 20 minutes. I really want to get through this book. Said, here is my signature. Let the Almighty answer me. And here he is demanding an answer from God. Oh, that I had the indictment written by my adversary. And see, he's calling God his adversary. And see, I wish I had I can't read Hebrew, but I wish I had what's it called? An interlinear in front of me. I want to look up and see if this word adversary is the word Satan. Like God is his accuser. Like he's being accused of a crime by God. That's why these things are happening to him. I'm saying, surely I wouldn't carry it on my shoulder. He said, surely I would carry it on my shoulder. I would bind it on me as a crown. I would give him an account of all my steps. Like a prince, I would approach him. If my land has cried out against me, if its furrows have wept together, if I have eaten its yield without payment and made its owners breathe their last, let thorns grow instead of wheat and foul weeds instead of barley. The words of Job are ended. That's like a biblical mic drop. He said, the words of Job are ended. I'm done. Stick a fork in it. Because now he's just like, let God answer me. This is basically Job laying out his case. He said, this is my case. If I've done any of these things, let's go. Let's see what you got, God. What are you accusing me of? So that's it. That's the last thing that, again, like aside from cowering before God a little bit later, that's the last thing Job says. So Job is finished, and his friends are done too. So now we get Elihu, and he's going to rebuke Job and his three friends, and then we got God's speech, and then we're done, and we got 20 minutes. You can do this. Okay. So these three men ceased to answer Job because he was righteous in his own eyes. Then Elihu, the son of that person, the Buzite, of the family of Ram, burned with anger. He burned with anger at Job because he justified himself rather than God. He burned with anger also at Job's three friends because they had found no answer, although they had declared Job in the wrong. So Elihu he has a problem with both sides, because he's saying that Job has justified himself rather than God, because basically everybody here still thinks God is punishing Job. So he's like, you're justifying yourself, so you're basically putting God in the wrong by punishing yourself. But he's mad at them because they were trying to defend God, but they did a bad job of it. And I can't lie, I kind of feel that. There is nothing that hurts my heart more than when I see a Christian arguing with somebody and they have no idea what they're talking about. And I'm like, you're making us all look real bad right now. Please stop. By the way, if you've ever been arguing in my comment section for a long time with somebody and then it suddenly disappeared, that wasn't a glitch. That was me. He's crying. Anyway, okay, so here comes Elihu. Now, Elihu had waited to speak to Job. I'm sorry, y'all, for the crying. Now, Elihu had waited to speak to Job because they were older than he. And when Elihu saw that there was no answer in the mouth of these three men, he burned with anger. And Elihu, the son of this person, the Buzite, said, I am young in years, and you are aged. Therefore I was timid and afraid to declare my opinion to you. I said, let days speak, and many years teach wisdom. But it is the spirit of man, the breath of the Almighty, that makes him understand. It is not the old who are wise, nor the aged who understand what is right. Therefore I say, listen to me. Let me also declare my opinion. So, Elihu was just put in here as a young person, because Job and all his friends are old. And this is, again, Job, the book of Job, not the character, railing against this idea of wisdom, like this conventional wisdom, saying that wisdom, the old saying, with age comes wisdom. He's saying age isn't what makes you wise. God is what makes you wise. That is, as far as I can tell, the only reason this guy is here, to show that the young can be wise too, because it is God who gives wisdom, not time, not experience, not knowing what the old sages used to say, because they kept appealing to the days of old. It's like, no. Behold, I waited for your words. I listened for your wise sayings while you searched out what to say. I gave you my attention, and behold, there was none among you who refuted Job or who answered his words. Beware lest you say, we have found wisdom. God may vanquish him, not a man. He has not directed his words against me, and I will not answer him with your speeches. They are dismayed, they answer no one. They have not a word to say, and I shall wait because they do not speak. Because they stand there and answer no more. I will also answer with my share. I will declare my opinion, for I am full of words. We can tell the spirit within me constrains me. Behold, my belly is like wine that has no vent, like new wineskins ready to burst. I must speak that I may find relief. I must open my lips and answer. I will not show partiality to any man or use flattery toward any person, for I do not know how to flatter, else my maker would soon take me away. So here he goes. But now, O Job, hear my speech, O Job, and listen to my words. Behold, I open my mouth. The tongue of my mouth speaks. My words declare the uprightness of my heart. And what my lips know, they will speak sincerely. The Spirit of God has made me, and the breath of the Almighty gives me life. Answer me, if you can. Set your words in order before me. Take your stand. Behold, I am toward God as you are. I too was pinched off from a piece of clay. Behold, no fear of me need terrify you. My pressure will not be heavy upon you. Surely you have spoken in my ears, and I have heard the sound of your words. You say, I am pure, without transgression. Hold on. I thought I saw something here. Yeah. You say you are pure. I am pure, without transgression. I am clean, and there is no iniquity in me. Behold, he finds occasions against me. He counts me as his enemy. He puts my feet in the stocks and watches all my paths. Behold, in this you are not right. I will answer you, for God is greater than I am. So he's saying when Job says, I am pure and without transgression, he's not right. So why is that? Why do you contend against him, saying, he will answer none of man's words? For God speaks in one way, and in two through man does not perceive it. Though man does not perceive it. One way, and in two, though man does not perceive it. In a dream and a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls upon men, while they slumber in their beds. Then he opens up the ears of men and terrifies them with warnings, that they may turn aside from his deed and conceal pride from a man. He keeps back his soul from the pit, his life from perishing by the sword. Man is also rebuked with pain on his bed and with continual strife in his bones, so that his life loathes bread, and his appetite the choicest food. His flesh is so wasted away that it cannot be seen, and his bones, and his bones that were not seen stick out. His soul draws near the pit, and his life to those who bring death. For there be with him, if there be for him an angel, a mediator, one of the 1,000 to declare to man what is right for him, and he is merciful to him and says, deliver him from going down into the pit. I have found a ransom. Let his flesh become fresh with youth. Let him return to the days of his youthful vigor. Then man prays to God and accepts him, and he accepts him. He will see his face with a shout of joy. And he restores to man his righteousness. He sings before men and says, I have sinned and perverted what was right, and it was not repaid to me. He has redeemed my soul from going down into the pit, and my life shall look upon the light. Behold, God does all these things twice, 3 times with a man, to bring back his soul from the pit, that he may be lighted with the light of life. Pay attention, O Job, listen to me. Be silent, and I will speak. If you have any words, answer me. Speak, for I desire to justify you. If not, listen to me. Be silent, and I will teach you wisdom. Then Elihu answered and said, okay, real quick. So Elihu's thing seems to be that that God does speak. Job's claim was that God won't answer him and God does not hear him. And Elihu is saying that maybe all of this stuff that you go through is God's way of speaking to you. Maybe he's trying to tell you something. Basically, shoot. Hold on. I lost my spot. Maybe God is trying to tell you something. See? Suffering seems to be a repetitive theme in the Bible. Even Christ suffered. Is there a theme? Oh, yeah. Suffering is a huge theme. In the New Testament especially, but it is in the Old as well. And that's what really Job is all about. Job really seeks to answer Job really seeks to kind of answer the problem of evil. Even in its day, it was still a thing. It's not like a new thing. And it's the suffering innocent. And that's what Job, like as a person, kind of represents. Yes, you do have the person Job, but you also have this idea of the suffering innocent person. And all of Job's friends, when you ask why do innocent people suffer, their whole thing is because they sinned, period. Elihu comes and Job is saying, well, that's not the case with me. So why is it happening to me? I want God to answer me, and God won't answer me. So Job is really just lamenting his life. And then here comes this young guy, Elihu, who comes and says, maybe God is trying to tell you something to keep you away from the pit. So he says, hear my words, you wise men, and give ear to me, you who know. For the ear, so now he's about to address, I think he's addressing Job's friends. Hear my words, you wise men, and give ear to me, you who know. For the ear tests words as the palate tastes food. Let us choose what is right. Let us know among ourselves what is good. For Job has said, I am in the right, and God has taken away my right. In spite of my right, I am counted a liar. My wound is incurable, though I am without transgression. And this is true. He said, like, I'm right, and you guys are calling me a liar. What man is like Job, who drinks up scoffing like water, who travels in company with evildoers and walks with wicked men? For he has said, it profits a man nothing that he should take delight in God. Therefore, hear me, you men of understanding. So he's saying that Job is hanging out with evil people. And he's saying it profits nothing to do it. It profits man nothing that he should take delight in God, because, of course, Job said that he did all of those things because he feared God, and the thing that he feared still came upon him. So Job is asserting, not in so many words, but basically that it doesn't do any good to take delight in God. And he says, therefore, hear me, you men of understanding. Far be it from God that he should do wickedness, and from the Almighty that he should do wrong. For according to the work of a man he will repay him, and according to his ways he will make it befall him. Of a truth, God will not do wickedly, and the Almighty will not pervert justice. Who gave him charge over the earth? And who laid on him the whole world? If he should set his heart to it, and gather to himself his spirit and his breath, all flesh would perish together, and man would return to dust. If you have understanding, hear this, listen to what I say. Shall one who hates justice govern? So this is him saying that God is not unjust. So what is happening to Job is not an injustice. It can't be that God is going back on his word, basically, that you will prosper if you obey him. God is not punishing Job for being good. That's what he's saying. Yes, these bad things are happening to Job, but they cannot be happening because God is unjust. There has to be reason for it. And by the way, Elihu here is really the one who's come the closest to being right. And he's the youngest. There's a reason for that. Because again, as he started off saying, wisdom doesn't come from man, wisdom comes from God. And I'm not going to get through this because I only got 7 minutes left. So I'm going to finish Elihu's speech, and then we'll have to go back to God's and finish up on Friday. He said, who gave him charge over laid him on the horse? Oh, they returned to dust. If you have understanding here, this is what I say. Shall one who hates justice govern? Will you condemn him who was righteous? Will you condemn him who was righteous and mighty? Who says to a king, worthless one, and to nobles, wicked man? Who shows no partiality to princes, nor regards the rich more than the poor? Oh, who shows no partiality to princes and regards the rich more than the poor? For they are all the work of his hands. In a moment they die. At midnight the people are shaken and pass away, and the mighty are taken away by no human hand. For his eyes are on the ways of man, and he sees all his steps. There is no gloom or deep darkness where evildoers may hide themselves. For God has no need to consider a man further, that he should go before God in judgment. He shatters the mighty without investigation and sets others in their place. Thus, knowing their works, he overturns them in the night, and they are crushed. He strikes them for their wickedness in a place for all to see, because they are turned aside from following him. So right now, he's just describing how God is just, really. Because they turned aside from following him and had no regard for any of his ways, so that they caused the cry of the poor to come to him. And he heard the cry of the afflicted. Again, all about the poor. When he is quiet, who can condemn? When he hides his face, who can behold him? Whether it be nation or man, that a godless man should not reign, that he should not ensnare the people. For has anyone said to God, I have borne punishment, I will not offend any more. Teach me what I do not see. If I have done iniquity, I will do it no more. Will he then make repayment to suit you, because you reject it? So this is an interesting thing. He's saying, okay, if they say, okay, God, I get it. I took my punishment. I won't do it again. He's saying, is God going to then pay you back for what you did just because you rejected it? Like, is he going to restore the things he took from you? No, he's not. He's going to do it to Job, because Job's not a wicked person. But that's not really the point. For you must choose and not I. Therefore, declare what you know. Men of understanding will say to me, and the wise man who hears me will say, Job speaks without knowledge. His words are without insight. Would that Job were tried to the end, because he answers like wicked men. For he adds rebellion to his sin. He clasps his hands among us, and multiplies words against God. It multiplies his words against God. This is what they would say about Job. And Elihu answered and said, do you think this to be just? Do you say, it is my right before God that you ask, what advantage have I? How am I better off? How am I better off than if I had sinned? Hold on. Oh, this is him talking to Job. Do you think this to be just? Do you say it is my right before God that you ask, what advantage have I? How am I better off than if I had sinned? I will answer you. So he's saying, how am I better off? Like, if the same thing's going to happen to me either way, why not just keep sinning? He said, I will answer you and your friends with you. Look at the heavens and see, and behold the clouds, which are higher than you. If you have sinned, what do you accomplish against him? And if your transgressions are multiplied, what do you do to him? If you are righteous, what do you give to him? Or what does he receive from your hand? Your wickedness concerns a man like yourself, and your righteousness a son of man. So he's saying, like, you're saying, like, what good does it do me to obey God if I'm just going to go through this anyway? And what he tells him is, what good does it do God for you to be good? You're not doing God a favor. And God, I love to tell people this, actually. Like, you are not doing God a favor by being good. People often say, like, oh, wait, why should I serve God? Why should I be a Christian? Like, they say, one that we hear all the time, and then I'm going to have to wrap this up. One that we hear all the time, God knows what it would take to get me to believe in him. So why doesn't he just do it? Like, as if, like, you are doing God a favor by accepting salvation. Like, it doesn't work like that. And that's what he's telling Job. He's like, you don't do anything for God by being good. Your goodness affects other people. You do good to people for the sake of the people. And he said, because the multitude of oppressions, people cry out, they call for help because of the arm of the mighty. But none says, where is God, my maker, who gives songs in the night? No, who teaches us more than the beasts of the earth and makes us wiser than the birds of the heavens. You are not center of the universe, right? They cry out, but he does not answer because of the pride of evil men. Surely God does not hear an empty cry, nor does the Almighty regard it. How much less when you say that you do not see him, that the case is before him, and you are waiting for him. And now, because his anger does not punish, and he does not take, and now because his anger does not punish, and he does not take note of transgression. So he's saying God is not listening to you because your words are empty. Job opens his mouth with empty talk. He multiplies words without knowledge. And that's where we're going to have to pause. Dang, I wanted to get through this tonight, but I have to go to bed, so I can't finish it tonight. But we are almost done. We're on chapter 36. We got, I think, one last chapter with Elihu, and then it's God. Yeah, 36. We got 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. So we'll definitely finish it up next time. And next time is going to be Friday, and there won't be any interruptions or any, like, postponements, because I was supposed to stream this yesterday. But anyway, what time Friday? Oh, yeah. 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock is the time. I'm always going to stream. I'm trying to do Monday and Friday. I didn't stream yesterday because I had some crazy stuff happen to me. But it's always going to be from 6 to 8. Eastern time, yes. 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock Eastern time is when I'm going to be streaming here and on YouTube as well. You do Thursday. I can't do Thursday because I actually I'm busy Thursdays. I have rehearsal. You see this See this piano behind me? I have rehearsal on Thursdays, so I can't do it on Thursdays. Yeah, and I actually have a class to teach on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. I like to think I'm pretty nice on the keys, actually. Look, I'm no expert. I play because I have to, but I tell people this: I'm not talented. I'm skilled. But anyway, all right, y'all. Well, thanks for stopping by and sticking around. There's only 80 y'all left. It was like 20 something in here at one point. But I appreciate it. So next time on Friday, we're going to finish up Job. And then next time, we're going to do Hebrews. Oh, what makes me stay? First of all, let me just say before I go, I love this question. Because you said you're very knowledgeable. What makes you stay Protestant? Because, of course, if I was really knowledgeable, I wouldn't be Protestant. I actually did a video on this not long ago. I stay Protestant for mostly I stay Protestant for mostly pragmatic reasons, to be honest. One is that I have a position that allows me to help my community quite a bit, and it is a community in desperate need of help. I'm just gonna be real. This might even irritate some people, but the black church is in need of good, sound biblical teaching. I mean, it just is what it is, and I'm in a position where I can provide that. That's the main reason. That and the things that I think some things that I think there are a lot of things that we need to bring to Protestantism. I think that we have, as much as we accuse like Catholics and like Orthodox of like multiplying man-made traditions, I think that there are certain things that we have lost from the early church that I think we could take some cues from them, if I can be honest. But that's all I can really say about that right now. But yeah, that's why I stay Protestant, mostly because of my position, because of my community, and there are some things that I just don't agree with those churches, especially the papacy. But I'm not gonna get into the papacy. I think the Pope is cool. I think he's a brother in Christ, but I think there's some things about the view of the papacy that I can't rock with. But anyway, it was a good question. I am going to go ahead and I am going to sign off. Thank you all again. And I will see y'all Friday. Come back Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern time. We're going to finish this up, and then next time we'll start on Hebrews.